Okay, so let's start with a scenario. Imagine your country depends on another, more powerful nation for life-saving medicine. But then, to keep getting that medicine, you're told you have to give them access to your country's most valuable natural resources. What do? It's a tough choice, right? Well, that's the exact dilemma we're diving into today, based on some pretty revealing reports.
That right there, that's a heck of an accusation. It's a quote from a report by the Dutch news outlet BNR, and they claim this was a direct ultimatum, all based on a U.S. government memo. So let's unpack what these reports are actually saying.
All right, so the country right at the heart of this particular story is Zambia. This is where we move from a general claim to a very specific and very high-stakes situation.
Now, the source for all of this, according to the BNR report, is an official U.S. State Department memo. And that memo wasn't just pulled out of thin air. It was first obtained and reported on by the New York Times.
So you can see the trail of information here. It starts with a leaked U.S. government document. That gets reported on by a major outlet, the New York Times. And then it's picked up and analyzed by this Dutch news organization. Just understanding that chain is pretty important here. So what were the exact terms of this deal that was on the table? According to the report, this wasn't just a friendly request. No, this was a straight-up quid pro quo. A very clear this for that arrangement. And here it is, the core of the whole thing. On one side of the scale, you have the continued flow of absolutely critical medicines for HIV and tuberculosis. On the other side, a demand for access to Zambia's rare metals. The reporting makes it clear. These two things were supposedly tied directly together. You might be wondering, why are these metals such a big deal? Well, we are talking about the essential ingredients for our entire modern world. I mean, the stuff that's inside your smartphone, in electric car batteries, in sophisticated defense systems. Getting access to them is a huge strategic goal for any global power. Now, this is where the story really widens. According to that BNR report, what was happening with Zambia, that wasn't just a one-off thing. It's described as just one piece of a much, much larger strategy that stretches across the continent. The article also puts a date on it, reporting that these kinds of agreements really got going during the Trump administration. And, that gives us the political context for what seems to be a major shift in how foreign aid was being negotiated. And here's where you see the sheer scale of it. The source claims it wasn't just Zambia. 24, that's 24 other African nations, have reportedly signed similar kinds of deals, linking their aid to other conditions.
And what about the total value of all that medical aid involved? A whopping $20 billion. I mean, that is an incredible amount of leverage to have when you walk into a negotiation.
The common thread running through all these deals is that there were strings attached. To get the aid, these countries had to meet certain requirements set by the U.S. But there's also an interesting detail the article notes. In some cases, one of those requirements was that the countries themselves had to boost their own spending on healthcare. Okay, let's just pause and zoom out for a second. When you hear about a strategy like this, as it's been reported, what does it really tell us about the world of international relations and foreign aid today? Really, a story like this sits right at that messy, complicated crossroads where humanitarian aid crashes into economic needs and raw geopolitical power. And as we've seen, the lines between all of those things can get really, really blurry. So it all boils down to this one fundamental question, doesn't it? Where do you draw the line? At what point does a helping hand turn into a tool of strategic power? It's a huge question, and there are definitely no easy answers.